After a year's work of refurbishing my house, I was finally ready to sell my live-in flip home. When it was all done and dusted, I had made a bit more than $100,000 in a year, in addition to my normal job. In this video, I will explain my process so that you can do the same if you are willing and determined to achieve financial success. A few years ago, I was living in a larger apartment in the middle of the city. Although it was spacious, it was starting to be outdated as it was built back in the 90s. After having done some small repairs and upgrades myself, I built up some confidence that I could take on an entire house. Before you make any sort of assumptions about me, I can tell you that I am all thumbs, and I much prefer to work in front of a computer rather than doing any kind of physical labor. However, I saw the potential to earn some money, and that motivated me to learn as I went along. I went on searching for a house that would make a good home but also had the potential for some repairs to increase its value. In case you are wondering what I did with the apartment I lived in, I rented it out for about $1,000 a month, giving me a steady passive income flow that helped finance the refurbishment of the new house I was looking for. Later, I refinanced that apartment, which gave me the down payment for my first rental that I did not live in myself at first, but that is a story for another time. Now, back to the story. After looking at some homes, I finally found one that looked promising. It was structurally sound with 6 bedrooms, 1.5 baths, but everything was outdated, as it was originally from 1969 when it was built. It was listed at $205,000, but I got it for $200,000. This meant that I myself would have to pay a down payment of $10,000 and then about $1,500 in other related costs. At this point, the interest rates were very low, and I was able to secure a 30-year mortgage at 0.5%. From the day that I got the keys, I started tearing down the wallpaper of all the walls, water washing the walls together with paint and some tools, costing $1,600. Then I had a contractor come in to tear down a wall that separated the kitchen and one of the living rooms. Also, some of the radiators were moved around and some flooring was leveled out, resulting in $2,300. Then it was time to fix the kitchen. The kitchen was old, so I tore everything down myself and went to one of the higher-end kitchen companies that quoted me a full kitchen with everything, including a $2,000 wine fridge. I ended up paying a little more than $18,000 for the new kitchen, including installation. After the walls in the kitchen had been torn down, I had to replace the ceiling with a new plaster ceiling. As I could do this myself, it was fairly cheap, and I ended up with a new ceiling for only $250. The carpet in the house also had to be changed, so I tore everything up and bought oak wood floors for $5,500. I could do most of the flooring myself, but ended up paying $500 to a carpenter to get some of the more critical areas right, like fitting it correctly to the new kitchen. Then I spent another $5,000 on lights and getting spots in the entire house together with light dimmers. The roof of the house was in an okay condition, but it almost lost all of its color over the years, so instead of getting an entirely new roof, I had a contractor replace the worst roof tiles and then cleaned and painted everything. The roof cost just below $5,000, but after speaking to a real estate agent, it was probably one of the things I did that gave me the highest return on investment. Finally, I did a full refurbishment of the utility room where I put in floor heating together with new tiles, washing machine, dryer, and amenities. That room cost me $6,000. In the end, all these improvements ended up costing me $42,000. Which landed me at a total of $53,000 out of my own pocket. Now it was time for the fun part, with getting some cash from my hard work. The first thing that I was to do was a loan conversion on the mortgage. When I initially took out the mortgage, it was, as previously mentioned, at an interest rate of 0.5%. In the meantime, interest rates had risen during the year, and the banks now offered loan conversions to a higher interest rate. That meant that I could convert my loan from 0.5% to 3.5% at the exchange of getting a lower principal amount. Although my monthly cost did increase, I was able to get $36,752 in equity out of thin air. Next, I had a realtor come to evaluate the house, which ended up with an asking price of $310,000. At this point, I had debt for $153,000 and had spent $53,000 of my own money, but owned a house worth $310,000. And there you have it. I made $104,000 in just around a year. It would, however, cost me a bit to release that cash, as if you refinance, you would typically only get 80% of the property's price, and if I would sell, I had to pay a commission fee. Either way you look at it, the value has been created and is now there for the taking. I ended up selling the house, making a little short of $100,000 after everything had been paid. I hope you enjoyed my story of how I made $100,000 in just 1 year, with some hard work and a bit of luck. If you are determined, I am certain that you could do the same. If you do not have $50,000 to invest, you can still make it work if you find investors that will lend you the money at a fair rate. The returns might be lower, but even if you end up just making half, you are still much better off than when you started. If you are having trouble finding good deals that will turn a profit for you like this example did for me, then I recommend that you get BirdDogBot, which is a program that analyzes deals for you automatically in order to find the best deals without doing any of the work. Finding deals is one of the hardest things you have to do as a real estate investor, and therefore it makes perfect sense to get the best possible software available on the market. You can find a link to the software in the description below. Thank you for watching this video and for tuning in to the Billionaire channel. If you haven't already, please make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.